Another classic mistake that ends up costing people thousands of dollars at the mechanic shop is turning up the radio volume to drown out a weird sound coming from underneath the vehicle. We have all done it or known someone who has, thinking that if we cannot hear the noise, the problem does not exist. But ignoring those metallic groans, squeaks, and rattles turns a simple $50 fix into a catastrophic system failure that can leave you stranded on the side of the highway. For instance, if you hear a sharp squealing or heavy grinding noise when you step on the brakes, your brake pads are completely worn down to the metal wear indicators and are actively eating into your steel rotors. If you hear a loud clicking or popping sound every time you make a sharp turn at a stoplight, your constant velocity joints are failing because the rubber boot ripped open and let all the grease fly out. Even worse, if you notice a faint knocking or tapping sound coming deep from the engine bay, your timing chain, valve lifters, or connecting rod bearings are crying for help. Taking a moment to roll down your windows in a quiet neighborhood and just listening to how your car breathes and rolls can save you from a massive repair bill before a component completely shatters. If you like catching these hidden automotive traps early and keeping your hard-earned cash in your own pocket instead of handing it over to a dealership, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now so you can stay tuned for all our regular garage talks. Now, let us talk about a couple of hidden components that silently destroy your vehicle performance and fuel economy without ever throwing a check engine light until it is far too late. Your mass airflow sensor and your oxygen sensors are the true eyes and ears of your car computer. Over time, the mass airflow sensor gets coated in a fine layer of dust, airborne debris, and oil vapor, causing it to miscalculate how much air is entering the intake manifold. When this happens, the computer guesses the fuel mixture, usually running the car way too rich. This means you are dumping excess fuel into the cylinders, completely killing your miles per gallon, and slowly choking your catalytic converter with unburnt carbon. Cleaning your mass airflow sensor takes about 5 minutes with a specific electronic spray cleaner, and it can instantly restore lost throttle response and save you a fortune at the gas pump. Moving down the drivetrain, we need to address one of the biggest corporate lies ever told by car manufacturers, and that is the concept of lifetime transmission fluid. When a dealership tells you that your transmission fluid lasts for the lifetime of the vehicle, what they really mean is that it will last until the factory warranty expires, and then the entire transmission becomes your expensive problem. Every single time your vehicle changes gears, the fluid inside gets subjected to intense heat and mechanical pressure. Over time, that crisp red fluid breaks down, loses its hydraulic properties, and fills up with microscopic metal shavings and friction dust from the internal clutches. Even if the fluid looks clean on a dipstick, its protective additives are completely spent, meaning it can no longer protect the gears from wearing down. Waiting until your transmission starts slipping, jerking, or hesitating means the internal damage is already done, and you are looking at a multi-thousand-dollar replacement. To keep your gears shifting smoothly for hundreds of thousands of miles, you should drain and refill your transmission fluid every 60,000 miles, or at least every 90,000 miles if you drive a hybrid vehicle. If your car has high mileage and has never had its fluid touched, avoid doing a high-pressure machine flush, because that can dislodge heavy debris and clog internal valve passages. Stick to a simple drain and fill, and always use original equipment manufacturer fluids instead of cheap universal alternatives. While we are talking about critical fluids, there is one that almost everyone completely forgets about until their brake pedal goes straight to the floorboard during a sudden stop. Your brake fluid needs a complete flush every 2 to 3 years, regardless of how many miles you put on the odometer. The reason is simple. Brake fluid is highly hygroscopic, meaning it acts like a magnet for moisture in the air. Over a few years of daily driving, moisture seeps through the flexible rubber brake lines and seals, contaminating the fluid. Brand new brake fluid has a boiling point somewhere between 400 and 450 degrees Fahrenheit, but once it absorbs water, that boiling point can plummet by more than 100 degrees, dropping down to death trap levels of 280 degrees Fahrenheit, or even lower. When you are stuck in heavy stop-and-go traffic or driving down a steep mountain pass, your brake calipers get incredibly hot. If your fluid is contaminated with water, that water literally turns into steam bubbles inside your brake lines. Since steam compresses and liquid does not, your brake pedal will suddenly feel completely soft and spongy, dramatically increasing your stopping distance or causing total brake failure. A cheap digital moisture tester can tell you exactly when your fluid has crossed that dangerous 3% water contamination threshold. Finding out your brakes failed when you are barreling down a hill is a nightmare scenario, but knowing how to prevent it is exactly why we break down these systems. So make sure you are subscribed before we tackle our next big maintenance blind spot. Another component that gets left in place for way too long is your set of spark plugs. Modern iridium and platinum spark plugs are advertised to last 100,000 miles, but as they age, the gap between the electrodes slowly widens due to electrical arc erosion. When that gap grows too large, your ignition coils have to work twice as hard to jump the space, creating massive electrical stress that burns out your coils prematurely. Furthermore, a wider gap causes microscopic, incomplete combustion cycles that you might not even feel as a hard misfire. This unburnt fuel travels down your exhaust system and cooks your expensive catalytic converter from the inside out, turning a cheap maintenance item into a nightmare scenario. Replacing your spark plugs every 60,000 miles keeps your engine firing cleanly, maximizes your fuel economy, and prevents your exhaust system from melting down. This brings us to the actual lifeblood of your entire vehicle, your engine oil. Car companies love to advertise long oil change intervals like 10,000 miles to make their vehicles look cheaper to maintain on paper for fleet buyers and Kelley Blue Book total cost of ownership metrics. But if you talk to any master technician, they will tell you that pushing your oil to those limits is a recipe for engine sludge, stuck oil control rings, and oil consumption. Oil does not just lubricate, it suspends contaminants, neutralizes harmful acids created by combustion, and cools vital internal components like the camshafts and bearings. Changing your oil early, around every 5,000 to 6,000 miles, instead of waiting for the maximum manufacturer limit, is the cheapest insurance policy you can buy for your car. Clean oil prevents your piston rings from sticking, keeps your variable valve timing systems working perfectly, and ensures your engine can easily pass the high mileage mark without burning a single drop between services. Finally, never underestimate the power of basic filtration. Your engine air filter and your cabin air filter are incredibly inexpensive, yet they play a massive role in how your car performs and breathes. A dirty engine air filter slowly chokes your engine over time, forcing it to work much harder to pull in the oxygen it needs for proper combustion, which ruins your fuel economy and hurts throttle response. On the flip side, neglecting your cabin air filter restricts the airflow entering your interior vents, which forces your air conditioning blower motor to work twice as hard, causing it to burn out prematurely and hit you with a massive labor bill to pull the dashboard apart. Replacing both of these filters regularly, especially if you drive through dusty or polluted areas, protects expensive sensors and HVAC components for just a few dollars. Taking care of these basic fluid changes, listening to your car, and ignoring corporate marketing gimmicks is the real secret to automotive longevity. I want to hear from you now, so drop a comment below with your current vehicle mileage, your average fuel economy, or any weird engine codes you are currently trying to figure out in your own garage. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, so you never miss a guide, and I will see you guys in the very next video.